A great start to the 20th season with a work by Astor Piazzolla. A unique chamber music series is celebrating its birthday in the Berlin Philharmonie. Spectrum concerts have been a meeting point for chamber music aficionados for years. An artistic endeavour in Berlin unlike any other. It stands out through the exceptional vitality and emotional dedication of a good dozen musicians who put on unique programmes. For years they've been playing in the Chamber Music Hall of the Berlin Philharmonie and for the past year in the Welle Recital Hall at the Carnegie Hall in New York. "20 years of Spectrum concerts. That's the story of a bold idea, but also a success story about fascinating musicians, all of whom care very much about chamber music. They're not just raising their glasses to celebrate a highly acclaimed concert. For years, Dutch violinist Janine Jansen and Vienna-based pianist Richard Hyung-ki have been friends. The guiding spirit and founder of this unusual music ensemble is the cellist Frank Dodge. He ignited the Spectrum fire and has kept it ablaze to this day. He came to Berlin from Boston in the early 80s as an unknown cellist and decided to stay with nothing but his cello in his bag, a 300-year-old instrument from Modena. He also came with his American dream to bring a top-class chamber music series to life, something that was only possible with private funds, and he wanted to do this in what was then West Berlin, which attracted subsidies in those Cold War days. As a 19-year-old, he'd managed this in the States, but in Berlin? He gave up his salaried jobs as a soloist in Madrid and with the Berlin Philharmonic and set off to find like-minded people. He was a pioneer working at his own risk.
Of course, I didn't know whether it was going to work or not. And 20 years ago, I never thought I'd be sitting here talking about 20 years of Spectrum Concerts Berlin. That never occurred to me. Perhaps it's just craziness. A Berlin newspaper once put it this way: a bit of imagination and a bit of craziness, and then something like Spectrum Concerts is possible.
Dann kriegt man so eine Sache wie Spectrum gebacken. Bei mir war es immer so, was heißt immer, beim Anfang.
In the beginning, we needed around 75,000 Deutschmarks. And I got my first promise from the Berlin Commerzbank. That was Siegfried Ernst. He gave me 1,000 marks for a program advertisement.
Für eine Programmanzeige.
I lit up like a 500-watt light bulb and thought, it's starting, it's working, we can go. It's like a snowball. It starts really small and then it keeps rolling and getting bigger. Not large enough, but this kind of thinking has always been with me.
Wherever he went, he didn't speak about money, he spoke about art, about the special value of chamber music, and he won over famous partners.
Frank Dodge, an
American and an outstanding, fantastic cellist, created a small chamber music ensemble here, with two closely connected goals. The first thing is that he rightly assumes that we, from the music city of Berlin, feel a close connection to the Americans through Berlin's history.
fühlen uns durch die Geschichte Berlins eng mit den Amerikanern verbunden. Wir gehören sozusagen
We're both part of the West, as it were, and he wants to bring the compositions and musical traditions from Europe on the one hand, together with new compositions from the New World on the other.
Musiküberlieferung aus Europa zusammenbringen mit auf der anderen Seite neuen Kompositionen aus der neuen Welt.
And with that, he has done a great service to the great music city that Berlin has always been.
Einen ganz großen Dienst getan.
Janine Jansen, the internationally celebrated violinist, associates her own story with Spectrum concerts. All of the musicians here are equals, every one of them internationally successful, but the luster of the star from the classical music scene also rubs off on Spectrum concerts. In recent years, the Dutch violinist has played in concerts with the greatest orchestras and conductors in the world, and also played with the Berlin Philharmonic. Audiences and critics alike sing her praises and admire her virtuosity on this Stradivarius.
Also ich habe wann war das? Also, ja, so
11 years ago, I participated in a competition in Belgium, and Frank Dodge was on the jury. After the competition, he came up to me and said, "I have a chamber music series in Berlin. May I have your telephone number?"
Also nach das Wettbewerb ist zu mir gekommen und hat gesagt, also ich habe eine
I want to give you a call.
Reihe, Serie in Berlin und darf ich
And then, maybe 2 months later, he called to ask if I'd like to come and play.
2 Monate später oder so hat angerufen, ob
That
ich
was the first time.
möchte. Und dann war das erste Mal.
Will she remain loyal to chamber music alongside all of the big concerts?
Erfolg, das ist auch nicht was.
Success isn't the highest goal. It's the music, the feelings and the emotions the music causes, and which you can also put into it. That is something very beautiful. And it's the same with an orchestra as it is with chamber music.
Also das ist unglaublich schön und das ist gleich, wenn man mit Orchester spielt.
But of course, what's really nice is that we have such a nice, close group here at Spectrum Concerts. We've all known each other for so long.
Schöne, enge Gruppe, wir kennen einander schon so lange.